How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of FSI's PGA DFS Pick Show. I'm your host, TK Nation 47, joined with John Cool 19. It's Masters Week. We have made it to the very first major of the year, coming off of a Valero Texas Open that we could probably forget. I've already forgot who won. I kind of tuned out, but still, congratulations to, I believe, JJ Spawn for the win. He is in the field, but enough's enough. It's Masters time. John, are you excited?
Yeah, super pumped for the Masters. I think what you just mentioned is probably the most exciting part of last week, was having somebody get into the Masters that wasn't already qualified. That is always cool to see a guy get to hop on a plane and make it into the Masters. JJ Spawn, been on tour a long time, hasn't got a win until this past week. We had him in some lineups. That was good to see for us. But yeah, more importantly, moving on to the Masters, tradition unlike any other. Super excited. I was not able to participate in the Masters last year, having been out of town, but I am super pumped to get into it this week. Probably best event of the year, really. It's much better than Tour Championship, my favorite major, pretty much everyone's favorite course. So much to love this week.
Yep, it is the Super Bowl of golf, I would like to say. Maybe only the Open Championship at St. Andrews, I could say, rivals the Masters Week because of just the prestige of where golf was literally created at the old course in St. Andrews, in, Fife, Scotland. I would say that's the only one that could probably come close to what Augusta brings out in the golf scene. And I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but Tiger Woods, the talk of the week.
Who?
Yeah, have you heard of this guy? Tiger Woods literally has put the entire, golf universe on hold. Anything that is talking about anyone or anything talking Masters this week is talking about, is Tiger Woods going to play? I hope he does. I'm a huge Tiger Woods fan. I know you are too. What are your thoughts on that real quick before we dive into the course and the Masters itself?
Yeah, I hope he plays. I don't expect much. I'm not sure that really anybody does, although he does love this course. He's been practicing here. If anybody could be limping themselves around the course and still play really well on this course, it's Tiger Woods. But I have some concerns, just things like distance being such an issue here, etc. So as far as picks go, I think I will stay away from Tiger Woods, even if he plays. But if he does play, I will be super tuned into his group, which I'm sure will make its way into the ESPN coverage, the favorite groups or marquee groups, if you will. So that'll be must-watch TV.
I honestly hope ESPN just has a designated Tiger camera. I will probably watch that the whole time. Big Tiger fan. I'm going to take some shots at him in the 150 max. Why not? I got nothing to lose. You don't cash half those contests anyway. So I'm hoping for glory, for more return to glory. All right, let's move on now into the course, some modeling stats and stuff. Let's go break it down for us, the Masters.
Sure. I think if there's one course that people kind of already know the most about, it's probably this one, but we'll jump into it anyways. This is a long par 72, about 7,500 yards, obviously Augusta National in Augusta, Georgia. But this course, it's got super wide fairways. So if you look at stats, you're going to see tons of guys hitting the fairway. What's much more important is being on the correct part of the fairway. And a lot of that is just going to come with course history. So guys that have played here quite a bit and had success, oftentimes they will find themselves up the leaderboard over and over here. I'm looking at a guy like Scottie Scheffler, who doesn't have as much experience here, but he picked up Bubba Watson's caddy, who was on the bag, multiple Masters wins for Bubba Watson. Something like that could be a huge edge for a guy like Scottie Scheffler, who hasn't played here nearly as much as probably like about half of this field. So that being said, wide fairways, but I'm looking for much more on the approach this week versus the off the tee stats. You have to be able to drive the ball long, especially because these par fives, they are all four very gettable. We're going to see a lot of a lot of eagle opportunities for the long hitters. Lots of birdies for everyone in the field. The 4 par 5s, those are the only 4 holes on the entire course that average at under par. Every single par 4 and all the par 3s average at or above par. So got to be able to hit the par fives and score points there, or score birdies there and pick up some DFS points. The par fours are very, very long here, very challenging. So definitely take that into consideration. I'm looking at par fours at the 450 to 500 yard range.
Yep.
Even if you want to toss in that 500 plus, some of these holes will play over 500 at least one or two of the days as they move the tee boxes around. Tee to green, super important here as well. We need to be able to get up and down because these greens are going to be missed, especially with the distance. So around the green play, very critical. So those are kind of my main. I threw in birdies are better as well. I need guys to be able to make some birdies here and there around this course. And proximity from 200 plus, again, that length is an issue for golfers this week. So I'm looking at a lot of that, and just kind of the big thing to think about this week is ownership. This field, all of the contests on DraftKings are much, much bigger. You're going to be battling against a lot more entries. You have to be cognizant of your ownership. I will absolutely, in the lineup generator over on Fantasy National Golf Club, be using a maximum on the top golfers' projected ownership. That way I don't get more than a couple of them in my lineups, make myself different that way.
Absolutely. Good insight, John. There was a lot of good nuggets in there for us to follow. The only thing I'll add is the weather this week. We do have huge thunderstorms rolling through on Tuesday and Wednesday. I imagine there is going to be no par 3 contest this year. Probably no practice rounds tomorrow either. Given the nature of the storms, their tornado warnings going to be in effect for the South tomorrow. So best of luck to them. And probably not going to see many on the course tomorrow whenever those start. So whatever prep you got in for the first, couple of days, that is probably it.
Sure.
And
probably even more
for the actual tournament, Thursday, it's going to be still windy, but it's going to be softer conditions. So high ball flight's not going to be a big issue if you can stick it to the greens. But Friday, after the course dries out a little bit, it's going to be sunny and it's going to be really gusty. I'm seeing 20 to 30 mile per hour winds near Augusta. So we are going to definitely factor in a little bit of the, guys that can hit the ball in the wind, the strokes gain windy conditions from the Fantasy National Golf Club, slider for the modeling. And I added bogey avoidance to my stats too. As much as you can make birdies or better in eagles on this course, you can shoot, double, triple bogey in a heartbeat. Just trying to get through trees, just trying to get, through
Sure.
the undulation and hitting the wrong slope that could leave you on the wrong side of the green, and then you could 3-putt, who knows. So there's just different ways to get snake bit here, and but that's why we love the course, and that's why it is the Masters. All right, picks. Let's get into favorites. I'm going to go ahead and kick us off here with Will Zalatoris at 9,200. I do see a projected ownership of about 15 to 20%. I think it's going to be actually a little higher because Will falls into this category where in the low 9s, he's probably the guy. Not many people are going to try to target that high AK range. Louis Oosthuizen, I think, could get a little bit of ownership, but nobody's going to be playing Taylor Gooch at 8,700 as a debutant. I think, other guys in that price range. I think Burns is up there at 86. I know you like him, but he is still a debutant. So I think people aren't going to gravitate towards that price tag as much. So I think people, after seeing the second place runner-up for Will Zalatoris last year, the second at the Farmers earlier this year, the elite ball striker that he is, he just was on screen at the match play coming into the semifinal or quarterfinals. I think everyone knows Will Zalatoris has a good game that fits the Masters. I'm seeing a lot of bets out there as well. I think the new putting stroke is working. He's got a new putter too. I noticed that. And I think big strokes gain windy guy as well, performs very well in the wind. And give me Willie Z, even if he is the chalk. I'll be different elsewhere. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm a huge Will Z guy. I will absolutely be playing him a ton. I like him this week. I really like what you mentioned about Burns and also Gooch. I think I'll get to him in a minute, but Burns just kind of has a swagger to him that He knows he's
Yeah.
good and he's playing super well right now. Gooch
Confidence.
is interesting and will be under-owned. He's a guy
Oh,
who
yeah.
walks around and has no idea that he is playing excellent golf and really could find himself playing really well this weekend. But everything you said about those guys is absolutely true. And also when you mentioned the wind and losing practice rounds, I think that just favors guys who've played here more and
Yeah.
guys who have not, are going to miss those practice rounds in their first maybe time or two to Augusta. It's going to hurt them a lot more. But enough about that. I'm moving on to my top guy. He's number one overall in my model. He will be super popular as well on DraftKings. That is Justin Thomas. There is just a ton to love about him this week, except for the ownership might be the biggest downside. He's fourth in this field in ball striking, eighth on approach, ninth in distance. Par 5 scoring is top 10 birdies or better, pretty much everything across the board. He rates out really well. He did miss his last cut when it came to a major. That was at the PGA Championship. That was his, I'm sorry, that wasn't his last major. That was his last miscut on tour, was way back in June for the PGA Championship of last year. So he's been playing super good golf, consistent all year long. His recent form is really, really good too. He's got 6 top 10s in his last 10 events. Third at the Valspar, fifth at Century Tournament of Champions. That's a comp course I'm using quite a bit along with Riviera. He is a major winner, and I do like that. I'm absolutely factoring major success in my modeling. He is a winner 2017 PGA Championship to go along with 4 additional top 10s at majors for JT. The course history is excellent here as well. He's 6 out of 6 cuts. He was 21st last year, 4th in that November edition of the Masters. So take that however you want, but that is a top 5 here at Augusta, and 2 more top 15s on this course. So a whole lot to like here for Justin Thomas. I'm going to jam him in a bunch of DraftKings lineups, and the price is really, really nice. I think the Scotty Scheffler form he's been on really kind of moved JT down in the pricing here on DraftKings versus if he doesn't win that match play, I bet JT is 10-6, 10-7.
Yeah, I really like Justin Thomas. If I hadn't had him already in one and done, I probably would have took him this week. JT definitely going to be in a lot of the DraftKings lineups because of all the reasons you said. I think it's a very fantastic play. I really, really, really like him too. All right, moving on to the value. We need to get a couple of guys here. I'm probably going to be a little chalky this week. This isn't usually like myself. I usually like to stray away from chalk plays inside the value range because I like to try to, leverage the field. But I think I'm going to leverage the field on my sleeper picks, my value picks, and maybe my roster construction. But I'm going to definitely have some of these chalkier value plays or favorites in my lineups scattered throughout. Joaquin Niemann at 8-2. I really like him. I might even like him as a bet at 65-1. It's really strong. Elite ball striker, won the Genesis Open. Very good on bent grass greens. I believe he won the Greenbrier in West Virginia. That's also bent grass greens. Joaquin Niemann, I'm seeing 15 to 20% ownership. He's a good putter on bent. 22nd at the Players. His Masters form isn't good, but what you see a lot of times at the Masters is guys that play their first 2, and that's like my angle this year for a lot of guys that I found. Guys that play their first two years at Augusta always have a really sharp third year. I noticed that trend with Corey Connors, and I noticed that trend with, who was it? I think it might have been Xander Schauffele. But yeah, he had a miscut and a 40th place finish. I'm hoping that this is the spike year. Corey Connors had something similar, and then he hit 10th and 8th. So I'm really hoping that Niemann has that kind of, bounce back here. Now I'm going to go with Corey Connors at 7,600 for my second guy in. I know this is going to be a chalky play. He's 55-1. He's that much cheaper than Niemann. Elite ball striker. He's in great form. 35th at the Boleros, 26th at the Players. And then he had that 3rd place finish at the match play. Basically DJ just handed him the 3rd place trophy. Didn't even want to participate after he didn't win the semifinal. But he was, like I mentioned, 8th in 2021 and a 10th in 2020 after 2 bad starts. I think the 3rd year trick is going to work. And Corey Connors, hey, he might even be a contender towards the end of this one. Fourth off the tee, fifth in greens gained, 22nd on approach. Ball strikers, and I saw a cool stat today. I wanted to give him a shout out, but I can't remember who said it on Twitter. I think the highest ranked strokes gained putter on tour that won the Masters, last one was, I believe, Reed, and he was 8th. And everybody else is outside the top like 60 in putting stats. So you don't have to be an elite putter to win here. You just have to be an elite ball striker. And that's definitely my angle here going in with picks. Your thoughts on these two and your value plays of the week?
Yeah, I definitely like them both. I'll correct one bit of the slide. The 2020 Riviera winner, that was the Genesis at the Riviera. Obviously, Joaquin Niemann winning there. But yeah, both these guys excellent. I'm going to play a ton of Corey Connors this week. And I think Niemann, he'll get some ownership, but I think kind of in this range, there's so many good golfers. It's going to be really kind of tough to pick and choose. So we'll see how ownership shakes out. And you said wanting to kind of build your lineups different. If you do go and start at Zalatoris and fade that whole 9.5K and above, you're going to be different right away, because almost everybody's going to pick somebody above 9.5K in their lineups. If Zalatoris is your second man in, then you do kind of have to be more wary of how you finish that lineup if you want to get different. But definitely like both of these guys. I went with a couple others here for my value plays, starting with Sam Burns at 8,600. He is 50-1 odds to win. I don't know how much I love that, but I would love a top 10 bet here for Sam Burns on his first time out on this at Augusta National. So that is probably the biggest knock, if you will, on Sam Burns, having never played here. But he has made 3 out of 5 cuts at majors. He was 29th at the PGA Championship. So he's got a little bit of major form, although only the 5 events played. He rates out really, really well in the wind. Both of these guys, actually, Fitzpatrick as well, play very well in windy conditions. Sam Burns, though, the form is really kind of tough to ignore. He is a 3-time winner on tour in the past calendar year. That includes 2021 Valspar winner. That was his last time out prior to the match play event, but kind of ignoring that one a little bit. 4 top 10s in his last 10 events as well. And the model loves Sam Burns as well. 17th ball striking, 10th on approach, 11th par 5 scoring, which we talked about, and top 20 in drive distance as well. And he's just super good tee to green. If you talk about guys who are good in really every area, if you throw away the putting, Sam Burns is there. He's a decent putter too, but tee to green, not going to find many better than him. My second guy here, Matthew Fitzpatrick. This guy, he looks like a little kid in the photos, but he has a ton of major success. Really not success as much as major experience, but 19 made cuts out of 26 major events. I would not have guessed he's played in 26 majors already in his career. 4 of those were top 20 finishes. So he's played in some super tough events on many tough courses. The course history here, he's made every cut since 2016. What you had mentioned, the very first time out on this course for Matthew Fitzpatrick, he did miss the cut, but he's gotten better since then. 21st in 2019 as well. So more success of recent. Super good player in the wind. So I don't expect any issues for him there. And then the model again loves him. 18th ball striking. He is second in this field in par 5 scoring. Really good tee to green, 22nd in the last 36 rounds, but he's been even better than that. He's top 10 if you look at the much more recent tee to green stats. The distance is kind of an issue for him, but when I talked about distance earlier, when it came to that par 5 scoring, he rates out so well in that. He's just so good with the irons and also a very good short game. So he's able to make birdie a ton on those par 5s, even if he's now not out driving the competition. So I like both of these guys a lot on DraftKings this week.
Yeah, I think with Fitzpatrick, is really good with those long irons. He hits those long irons really well on par 5s. He always gives himself nice eagle chances. And plus, he can get hot with the putter sometimes too. So I love the Fitzpatrick call, especially with the impending wind that we have coming on. And, you know, Zalatoris as a debutant finished second last year. So I could see something similar happening with Burns. So I like the call. I think it's going to be a good leverage point to be under the GPP ownership with someone like Burns at probably around 7% would be my guess. So I like that call. All right, moving on to the sleepers slide. I'm going to have quite a few shots at some of these guys, but I wanted to go ahead and go with Erik van Rooyen, not only because of the famous mustache we got going on here, but I think he can really fit this course pretty well. He is 250 to 1. I wouldn't consider that bet, but maybe a top 20 bet would be interesting for him. He is a debutante, but he was 13th at the Players. He just really he's just a solid course fit. You know, he can be long off the tee. He's a little erratic off the tee, but you can be that at the Masters. You know, these are wide fairways. The rough isn't super penal. Yeah, you don't want to be dead nuts into the trees, but even if you are, you can still find your way to get to the green from the trees. We've seen it with Bubba over the years. So I think Van Rooyen, although he's erratic off the tee, it won't really kill him this week. What he is he's really good with the short game. You know, he has that fifth in proximity from 175 to 200, so he has some long iron approach. Doesn't three putt often, although he's not an excellent putter. 39th at the Genesis and 20th at the Sony. He even played the Century Tournament of Champions this past year, which is a corollary course. I've noticed you said that earlier, and I had to agree with you there. A 5% play, I think he's a solid play, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play Augusta and seeing how his game fits. I hope I'm right here. What are your thoughts, and who's your sleeper?
Yeah, EBR is one of the few guys that I want to add to my pool in the 6K range. There's just not many guys. It's pretty ugly, and I think that's going to lead to a lot of people just pounding that 7K range into the low 7Ks. But I don't know if many people are going to get to Cam Young here. He is also another Masters debutant. We haven't a lot of those on this show here today, but I think there's a lot to like for him. The form's really good. He was 13th at the API. Before that, he was runner-up at the Genesis, another comp course, very, very tough event with an excellent field. 20th at the Farmers, again, tough event, very good field. 16th at the Honda. So the form's been really good here of late. No course history to speak of, but a few things to really like here. He is top 20 ball striking and then 5th in driving distance in this field. He absolutely hammers the ball off the tee. Birdies a galore for him. He is top 10 birdies or better. First on par fours that are in that 450 to 500 yard range. And the tee to green, 26th in this field. So I think there's a whole lot to like here for Cam Young. A guy that I don't think very many people are going to play. We shall see about that. But I do like Cam Young quite a bit at the end of the 7K range.
Yep, I love Cam Young. He's a really good young golfer I've been following since the Korn Ferry Tour. It's good to see him have the success that he was having translate over to the PGA Tour. And now he gets an invite to the Masters. This is a really big step for him to get eyes on this course early in his career is good. And I'm happy he's in the field. Okay, moving on to the one and done slide. Man, last week I thought you were going to have a decent spot. John, I think you got yourself on mute there too. Be careful. All right, yeah. And maybe you were just saving yourself from the swearing that might have begun. I thought you were going to have a really big week, and then Kirk kind of imploded down the stretch. But man, you are that close to the cellar, huh?
Yeah, it's just been that kind of year for me. As soon as a guy makes his way into the top 10 in an event, he finds the water very, very quickly. 3 putts from 8. So my dog is also very upset about how my golfers have played in one and done. So yes, I'm going to make a turnaround here. Brooks Koepka, big money golfer. He loves the big events, played super well in really all of the majors over his career. So give me Brooks Koepka here to win this week and get my way out of here, out of the cellar.
All right. Well, it's been a polar opposite approach, I guess, for us this year. Last year you were doing super well, and I just kind of fizzled out towards the end of the year. And I felt like I had too many studs remaining, but like none of those studs were informed. So this year I've had an approach to, if I liked a guy, even if it was Justin Thomas or Dustin Johnson, or even when I missed the cut with Brooks Koepka at the Players, like I felt good about those studs, that they were going to perform well at that point in time. And I didn't care about where I was going to take them later on down the road. Now, the only golfer I've actually done that with is John Rahm. and I had planned on taking Rahm for the Masters, but I did not like what I see on the greens with Jon Rahm. I think this is a course where, yeah, you don't have to be a really good putter, but if you've been putting poorly, like Jon Rahm has, like almost 140th in the field poorly, I'm worried that you're not going to, compete, and you're going to get that mental psyche in your head when you're getting frustrated with the gusty greens. It might translate and trickle into other things of your game. But what I do like is Morikawa coming into this event kind of under the radar. I love him as a DraftKings play too. He's like my GPP up top. He's only like going to be around 10%. Nobody's going to like the form because he missed, he's a 67th place at the Valspar, got torched at the Players, but he was on the bad side of the weather draw at the Players. He didn't look that well at the match play, but he was 3-0 until Answer just, boat raced him, but Answer was in form. And then Answer, of course, gets hurt after the round, but whatever. So I'm in 435th place. I love Collin Morikawa to try to get me a win. I love the upside here. He's already got 2 majors. He's, an Open champion. He's an PGA champion. So, yeah, Collin Morikawa, 2nd at the Genesis, 5th at the Century. There's some correlation going on here.
Yep, I like it.
And my theory of every time you get into that 3rd year of the Masters, you make that jump, miscut. What was it? I had it here. A miscut and then an 18th place. So here we go. He's jumping into the top 5.
I like it.
So
Yeah, and we'll be playing Fantasy National Golf Club's Majors season 1 and done, a whole new one. So I am currently in 1st place in that one because there are no events yet. I'll be taking Justin Thomas in that to start off with a bang, hopefully. Not that I don't like Brooks there, but I'm already burned JT in the season long. So give me some JT, and we'll see what happens between one of those two.
Well, that'll wrap things up for us for the Masters PGA edition. John, anything else to add before we go?
Nope. Super excited. Tons of information to digest this week. Everybody is putting out insane amounts of content. So that's super cool to see. Lots to go through. I guess the biggest thing I could stress, if you're playing in the big GPPs, get different with your lineups. Don't play all those chalky guys. But in our Discord, we will always be kind of going over who those chalkiest plays are, kind of our favorite plays to get off them, and go from there in your GPP lineups.
Yep. Cash, keep it simple. Don't try to think too hard. Even if you feel like you have a duplicate lineup, just go with it. People are going to try to get cute with 2v2 situations. If you feel like you're going to have a golfer be the better play than the, if you feel like you have a lineup that's a solid lineup, run it. Just don't even think twice, because people will overthink themselves. And in GBPs, yes, you got to get different. This is a smaller field, easier cut to make. Ownership plays a big factor. And if you guys want any insight into ownership projections or anything like that, you can follow us on Twitter at FSI_DFS. The link in the bio is in the link. The link is in the bio to subscribe to our Discord chat. And you can follow me on Twitter at TKNation47. That is at JohnCool19. Enjoy the Masters. Go Tiger. And hopefully we can win some money.
Sweet. Good luck this week.